What's up, guys? My name is KhaoticK, back at you guys little one today, coming at you guys with another ranking my best and worst RCs of 2024. And so these are the chemicals I've been using in research chemicals that I've been using for the past years and a half since my last ranking my best and worst RCs of 2022. So, I thought I'd update the video and come out with a new tier list. And it's been a while since I've done a tier list, so I thought I'd change it up and mix it up and make it a little more entertaining. And so, with that being said, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, hope you guys stay high, stay lifted. Leave it down in the comments what you guys are doing, what you guys been up to. All right, and also, happy Easter, even though it's been a few days since Easter. Anyways, let's get into the video. So, getting into MDPM. So, MDPM. This stands for methylene deoxyphenmetrazine. So methylene deoxyphenmetrazine is a MDMA-like compound, as you can tell by the name, but it has no amphetamine in it. But, I will admit this was a little more disappointing because, I guess, from my past history of use of MDMA, it just doesn't really compare at all. It pales in comparison. It just really isn't like it at all. But this would be like extremely like light MDMA light. So they'd be like MDMA extra light, And what that basically means is that this is just a lot less potent by weight, but it doesn't really make you roll. It's like getting your dick teased. I'm not even playing. So it'd be like, you coming up on MDMA, and that feeling when you're about to come up and you're about to roll tits. This is exactly what it does, but it just doesn't make you roll tits. It fucking makes you not roll, and it makes you just kind of feel unease. Like, as in, like, you feel like the high could go farther, but it never does. It just kind of just stays at a certain level, and you just feel underwhelmed. Yeah, it's very underwhelming. So it's going to go into C tier, but, however, it's very useful, I guess I would say, for going out and relaxing your mind and body, and allows you to talk a little more freely. I would say it's a little more like, tired feeling. It doesn't really feel that energetic because of no amphetamine, I would assume. But phenmetrazine doesn't really give it any, stimulant qualities, really. It doesn't really stimulate you that much. And I was doing up to 100 milligrams. And every single time, it just made me more and more tired every time I upped the dose. So, who knows? Who knows what goes on in the higher doses. But, up to 100 milligrams, it's pretty safe, I would say. But please use the same harm reduction as MDMA, because this thing can, however, make you, have serotonin toxicity, obviously. So it has serotonin, action, and also, obviously come down. So, be careful with your serotonin. All right. And into the next one. So ODMT. So I actually had found the last of my ODMT pill. I found an ODMT pill. And so I did this within the last year. And I would say this chemical is pretty nice, except it tends to be a little more addicting. I think that's just me, but obviously opiates are very addicting. It's not just me. So please don't even try it. If you have a history of abuse with other chemicals, it's just not going to really sit well with you. But however, it has its uses, and for that, I would probably put that in. I'll put in a B because the addiction potential, honestly, I'll put in an A or S if there wasn't such an addiction potential. But hey, it's very addicting to me, at least, because I would smoke it, obviously. So please don't smoke it. Just eat it like a normal person. All right, and you shouldn't really have to worry about it being too addicting. Okay, not more addicting than like a benzo, but obviously more addicting than a benzo. It's a little more dopaminergic, I would feel like, and it has norepinephrine qualities, so it's a little more of like it's like an NRI, by the way. So there's that. Anyways, let's get into another chemical, and this one I'm very fond with. So this is an actual real picture of what I have, and 5-MeO MIPT is the chemical. So this is the free-base form of it, so I can vape it all I want, and I can make a vape out of it, which I was going to, and I haven't yet. Just been caught up, pretty busy. But however, this chemical, when vaped, is instant entactogenic high. So it kind of tastes like 5-MeO DMT when vaped, but however differs a lot in effects. So this feels like the come up of like a 2CB high, but compared to 5-MeO DMT, oh man, yeah, this takes a little longer to peak in your bloodstream, but 5-MeO DMT is near fucking instant. So this compared to that is really just not really comparable. One is just a fucking, crazy ass trip. This is just more of like a functional high. So I would opt for this. However, it causes some anxiety. It's just typical serotonin psychedelic anxiety. It's not really too anxietal. And with that being said, I'm gonna put this in S tier. Without a doubt, it's a go. It's a very good chemical. Please pick it up if you have a chance and try it out. It's nice. And please keep in mind it may not mix well with, other chemicals that well, because it's very, very heavy on serotonin. Usually the 5-MeO tryptamines are pretty heavy on serotonin for some reason. And some of them have been theorized to, basically act like a MAOI. Yeah. So, yeah, please keep that in mind. I'm not really sure if it's a MAOI, but it definitely does exhibit some qualities. And just please keep to the same harm reduction as like 5-MeO DMT. Yeah, just to be extra safe, it's pretty similar. But differs a lot in effects. This lasts up to 6 to 8 hours. So, yeah, you can see how that could differ. So, all right. And with that being said, we're getting into 5-MeO DMT. So, right off the bat, this chemical is way too potent, all right? It's really not meant to be used by someone that's not, experienced with the psychedelics. So, yeah, you need some experience before you do this, preferably. But if you do it, it's not really going to matter, except it will. And please do it, with a TripSitter. So, please take my warning. Don't just do it anyway. It's very scary, very not even euphoric at all. Kind of reminds me of salvia, where it just doesn't feel that euphoric. It feels dysphoric. I don't know why it does. But I'm scared to take the proper dose, by the way, because I'm doing this shit by myself. So you can see why I'd be scared. So not even I'm fucking ballsy enough to do that. But who knows? If I can maybe make some views on the video, I probably would do that shit live. That shit would be hilarious. So I'm gonna put this in A tier, because it's very therapeutic. Don't get me wrong, but just because the potency and the way it varies so wildly, it's really just not an S tier criteria for me. But leave it down in the comments if you guys differ with that opinion. So yeah, with that being said, that is gonna stay there. And yeah, that's it. Alright, so getting into 1,4-BDO, which is also 1,4-butanediol. So this is an alcohol-like substance. It's very related to those other diols. But there's a lot of alcohol-like compounds, and this is one of them. However, this one in particular is used to actually make synthetics like plastics and stuff in the industry. So it's an industrial solvent, which is not so much for the faint of heart, as you can imagine. But however, if you get pure 1,4-BDO, it does convert it to GHB. And GHB, you know what that is, I'm sure. If you don't, look it up. Anyways, GHB is a goat chemical of mine, very addicting. So this would be no different. And the fact that it's very addicting, I couldn't really put it in S tier at all. A tier, well, because it's fun, because I like it a lot, I'm gonna put it in A tier, but not S tier. It's not perfect by any means. And please, if you do get a source for this, please don't become addicted. It has an action on the receptors as it basically acts like a benzo and GHB drug. So it acts on the benzo receptor and the GHB receptor. So the GABA receptor, GHB receptor, and it affects 2 neurotransmitters there. So yeah, it's a double withdrawal if you stop using this shit. So, and I can attest to this. When I had to get off this, because honestly I really did, it was giving me a lot of side effects. It also gives you liver enzyme, dysfunction. It will elevate your liver enzymes. And you got to be careful with that, obviously. But other drugs do this. Other drugs probably do that, but this in particular definitely does. and it feels heavy on your body. After a while, like after almost 6 months of use, I wasn't using it every day by any means, but hey, I was using it like 4 or 5 days a week. I was drinking. Basically, it was like if I was replacing alcohol with this substance. And this is actually what it looks like when it's frozen. So please make sure it actually looks like that. That's a very, very good harm reduction to know. If it doesn't arrive frozen, it's probably fucking spring or summer, hopefully. But if it's winter, it should arrive frozen, okay? And wherever you're at, if it's cold, it should arrive frozen. It actually freezes at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So, yeah. The freeze point is pretty goddamn up there. But honestly, that's a weird freezing point. Like, to see something freeze at only 65 degrees is pretty interesting. And I had the luxury to see that, so I knew my shit was pure. So please make sure that stuff is pure. Other than that, yeah, it lasts a little longer than GHB because GHB doesn't last that long. And it actually is a lot more effective than GHB. It's a lot less addicting because you're not redosing all the time. So you take one dose of this, you're either knocked out or you're high for the whole night. Straight up. Take my word for it. Anyways, let's get into another new chemical. So this is actually a new chemical I tried this year. Pretty recent. I made a video about it. It's bromonor-diazepam. So bromonor-diazepam is a very, very mouth-filling name. And it's a metabolite of, I guess, desalkylgidazepam. So, yeah. I've never tried that chemical, but it basically is that. So, yeah. Actually, bromonor-diazepam is very effective in tapering, with drugs. But yeah, and by the way, desalkylgidazepam, that's actually just another name for it. It's actually a metabolite of gidazepam. That's right. So yeah, I had to correct myself there. So gidazepam is, yeah, the main drug for this right here, basically, or it's the brand name. It's the branding of the drug, but I don't know. This is a metabolite of it. It's so weird, and it's actually a metabolite of other benzos in the pharmaceutical market. So, yeah, give it a try, okay? But it's like, diclazepam. It's almost exactly like diclazepam. I remember it just feels like a good tapering drug. And then on the half-life, man, that shit made me not want to do it again because it just lasts until the next day. And then even the next day after that, you feel something. So, it's pretty up there. So, I'm going to put it in B tier. Definitely good tapering drug, but not very euphoric, honestly. It's not really, like, therapeutic in that way, but it's only therapeutic in the withdrawal avoiding phase. If you're trying to like get off of like shorter acting benzos, yeah, this is perfect. Any of those short acting benzos, this would replace their withdrawal and allow you, to get some peace of mind. It's a lot less addicting, I'm gonna be honest. One of the least addicting benzo RCs I've tried, and it's nice. So please give it a try. Putting that in B tier. Oh, and we gotta move that back. So, let's get into a dissociative since we've been talking about other shit for so long. 3-HO-PCP. Now, this chemical, 3-HO-PCP, I'm getting this again, by the way. I'm literally getting it within a few days. And I'm gonna have a fucking blast. So, this is always a fave of mine. And recently, I discovered I had a chance to get that shit again. And who do you know? I found that shit again. So, 3-HO-PCP feels like a warm fucking ketamine high, but a lot more of like that. It's a lot more mind fucky, and it requires less of a dose to have an effect as well, which is always a plus for me. I like drugs that are like, sub milligrams and shit, but that's just me. I'm kind of crazy like that. But obviously, like when it comes to 5-MeO DMT, that's where it kind of freeze and stop. Like that shit's intense. So 3-HO-PCP. This is definitely an A tier drug because, again, I don't know what it is about it, but it's kind of like DCK with me. It's a lot more of a warm disso, and it feels a lot more like when a drug feels like it's like hugging you. This is kind of like one of them, And this is not the type I actually got. I actually got the one that was, it kind of looked like this, looked a little tannish, but. Yeah, when this stuff is pure, oh man, dude, it's gonna rock your world, and you're never gonna forget that high. So, yeah, it's hydroxynated fucking PCP, bro. So, anyways, yeah, just so you know, that shit makes it a lot more potent. And yeah, don't go run around saying you're on PCB. So, all right, getting into ALD 52. So I still have some of this, and I was gonna actually trip this 419 on this. So I thought I'd mention it. It's one of the drugs I'm doing. Pretty soon here, and I would rank this. Let's see, it's a lot more recreational than acid. So I'd have to put that at A tier because, yeah, if anything's more recreational than acid but feels like acid, you have less of a chance of having a bad trip. So how would that not be more fun? So in that respect, it does get a little more respect out of me. So I'll put that in A tier. Other than that, nothing much to be said. Other than that, it requires a little more of a dose. It's a little less potent than LSD. But however, it rocks your world just the same. And if someone sold this as LSD, you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. Unless you were an expert, unless you had like 100 tabs of this shit, fucking, and you just, you could compare that shit on spot, like with a trip there, then a trip tomorrow. You're like, okay, this one differs in this way. Yeah, but you're not really going to tell the difference. Trust me. It's pretty similar. It's pretty surprising how it is. But yeah, let's get back into another chemical. So, allolescalin. So, yeah, I found another connect for this recently. And like mescaline, it feels a lot like mescaline, except it's not as euphoric as mescaline. But other than that, it actually is a very, very good chemical. But don't get me wrong, in the right dose, every drug on this list right here is euphoric, okay? It's just in the normal doses compared to these other drugs that are, these natural drugs that have been on this planet for thousands of years, they're not as strong, obviously. Because, mescaline contains the other alkaloids, and that actually makes the trip either, more trippy or, I guess more therapeutic. But this right here in particular, very good chemical to do. And, I didn't really have any fond memories of this. I'm going to put it in B tier, but don't get me wrong. Don't sleep on Alesc and get some of that. I'm just saying, like, compared to mescaline, it's like a B tier, I'm going to be honest. But other than that, hey, it's a good chem. Give it a try. It's never too late. So, getting into another new chemical I tried recently. I had just made a video about it, by the way. And it was confirmed to be 5-APB, as you can see here. But I actually had made a video titled 6-APB. So I got to make another video about that because that video, it's pretty popular right now. I don't want to get rid of it, but I did leave a comment saying that this was misled to be, 6-APB. BenzoFur, the original BenzoFury. So it's another benzofuran like 5-MAPB, except this one, it's not as euphoric as 5-MAPB, not as potent per weight as 5-MAPB. But other than that, hey, no, this stuff feels like what MDA would feel like, except like if it was like, the amphetamine molecule extracted out of that chemical. And basically, yeah, it was just a safer version of MDA. It was synthesized, looking for something that was not neurotoxic like MDA or MDMA, and its other metabolites. So yeah, it actually is more healthy, I guess, neurotoxicity wise, but however, it has a strong affinity for the 5-HT2B receptors, so obviously it has the same cardiotoxicity potential as other serotonergic substances, so please keep that in mind. Other than that, fun chemical. But if I were to put in A tier, S tier, it wouldn't really feel right because it's not, it didn't really rock my world like MDA SAS or MDMA would. Like, I swear, 50 milligrams of pure fucking MDMA, medical grade, 99%. That's not even possible. But yeah, that would be more potent than this. And for sure, 50 milligrams of MDA. And this was only strong to me around 100 milligrams. So yeah, that really shows something. And your eyes aren't really going to roll or anything until you probably go over that amount. But keep in mind, I'm 200 pounds. So, yeah. I have more body weight. So, to someone that doesn't have that much body weight, 100 milligrams of this stuff, that's very misleading. Please take at least 50 milligrams of this your first time. Okay? Probably even take a little less than that. And work your way up, please. Because you don't want to just jump right into the boat of overdose, Anyways, yeah, so that's 5-APB and where I ranked it. So getting back into another dissociative, we got 2-FDCK. So 2-FDCK is standing for 2-fluoro-chloroketamine. Quite the mouthful there. But, however, this is literally ketamine, except with fluorinated. So, ketamine is like 2-chloro-chloroketamine. This is like 2-fluoro-chloro. So, really, it's literally ketamine, but with a fluorinated, group attached and, synthesized into a chemical. Hey, but it actually increases the oral potency of the chemical, so it actually basically creates a oral ketamine, which is really interesting, and I really enjoy that because, like 3-HO-PCP, I like to take my dissociatives orally. I really don't like snorting them. It's like a waste to me because this stuff lasts just as long when you swallow it. And interesting enough, it's not like destroyed by your stomach or anything. Like, it's very, very absorbed, okay? Very much absorbed into your bloodstream. So, and because this was therapeutic, okay? Like, seriously, this has serious therapeutic potential. I have to put this in S tier, hands down. This stuff made me get over some stuff. If you've watched my 2FDCK review, honestly, this was the most therapeutic chemical dissociative I've done in the most recent times. Like, I'm serious. And there's not much to be said other than you need to try it now, please. And it will rock your world. It will make you reset your brain. Like, it reset my brain. It was nuts. And kind of stopped a lot of ruminating, However, that's still an issue, obviously, but I'm working through it. But, it does kind of put a halt on that shit. Almost stops it. At this point, the rumination is probably from other freaking weed substances and other shit. But, yeah. Very, very good chemical to do if you're having a hard time. It helps reset it. So, yeah, keep that in mind. So, getting into another new RC, and I haven't made an RC substance review about this yet. It's another RC benzo, yeah. So, we got quite a lot on this list. I even got another one on the right there. But, so, this chemical, I actually discovered again recently. The same guy that is, that has 3-HOs, PCB, pills, is all around a good chemical to do if you're trying to get rid of anxiety. So, I mean, really can't rank this anywhere else other than, I guess, B tier here. It's not really that, memorable. I've done it recently, but, compared to the other benzos, it's a lot like bromonordazepam, except it doesn't last as long as that chemical. So, it lasts a little shorter. But, however, it's got a good half-life as well, too, but I'm not really interested in the half-lives anymore. I don't like how I feel the high end of the next day because I have to work, and, yeah, my work schedule doesn't really call for that kind of stuff. But, just like any other benzo, really can't say much other than it being the most similar to the other ones. So, B tier it is. So, now, FXC. So, this chemical right here is pretty damn awesome, too. Like, I actually just had a dissociative trip on this. 100 milligrams. I think I did almost close to that. Yeah, that's what I did. And basically, I'm just going to round it up to that. It was like 90 something. But so this trip actually was a lot more similar to 2FDCK, and I'll tell you why. Because this has actually been confirmed to be 2FNEN-DCK. So it's not even FXC, the one we thought it's been for this whole entire time. It's actually 2FNEN-DCK. And that actually is a little less potent than 2FDCK. However, this one seems to be a little more psychedelic than 2FDCK, except 2FDCK is more therapeutic than this, without a doubt. This is a little more giddy, this is a little more like manic-inducing, but not in a bad way at all. It's a little more energetic, basically. Energetic ketamine. And it kind of feels like a more lighter version of ketamine and 2FDCK itself. So, very good chemical. Awesome. I'll put it in B tier. Because who doesn't like that? And FXC, yeah. I have more fond memories with 2FDCK. However, it's just not as potent. But yeah, that'd be the reason why. That'd be in B tier and not S tier or A tier because I just haven't had much experience with it. And then it being confirmed to be 2FNEN-DCK doesn't really help. So I'm just kind of confused if it's FXE or 2FNEN-DCK, or, if we're going to see the actual real FXC. Never know. But we'll see. Anyways, getting into psychedelic, and I'm going to save this other benzo for the last. So this is 3CP. So this is most similar to allolescaline. It's another mescaline analog. However, it has a amphetamine group. So that means when you take this chemical, it lasts quite a lot longer than a mescaline analog should. So the amphetamine takes, 10 hours to get out of your body with its half-life. But, as you know, with the half-life, which is the name of, how long half the drug stays in your body, it's for 10 hours. So the next 10 hours is 20 hours, so this won't even be out of your body in 20 hours because the amphetamine analog, but it'll be almost completely out of your body, which pretty much means that once you sleep, it's over. So, but this lasts long and perfect for raves. So if you go to raves and festivals and festivities, clubs, shit, man, honestly, this is a really good chemical. All right. And if you got ADHD, it's very therapeutic, I found to be. And I actually recently got a gram of this shit, so I am set. And if you look up the dose, it doesn't take a lot. Seriously, 5 to 10 milligrams of this stuff is very, very active. It's very active in a low dose range, which is quite interesting, which means it's very potent. So don't overdose this stuff, please, because it gives some bad vasoconstriction. Do got to put that out there. And because it's a little more therapeutic than these other drugs, it's honestly the only psychedelic I've found to be the most effective for ADHD and repairing those receptor sites that, are probably damaged by ADHD or defunct because of the amphetamine group, like I said. So it actually can replace ADHD drugs. I'm not even playing. If you take a lot of Adderall and you need a little reset, you can even, not have to quit Adderall or those, ADHD drugs that, prove to be effective for those times you really need them. But you can actually either make them last longer or, take a break from that shit and take this instead. So take a psychedelic and you could just take a low dose. Trust me, you don't have to be tripping. Take a low dose where you're not tripping. But I noticed the low doses on this feels like a little bit of a low dose of Adderall. So it gives the amphetamine quality even in low doses. So it's very effective for ADHD. You don't got to trip. You can take a microdose of it. Very, very microdosable drug. I would do that. So back into the last benzo I have on this list, which would be pyrazolam. So pyrazolam, I've never gone to powder version of it. And this is actually the actual image of the powder I got. So as you can see, it's kind of yellow, tan, off tannish white, and it looks a lot similar to clonazepam. I'm pretty damn surprised why it does, but it's nothing like clonazepam at all. It doesn't last as long. And the half-life is perfect enough to be functional the next day. However, I did notice the next day you have after effects from this. And that's also because I have no benzo tolerance whatsoever. And then I was like, this is the reason why I don't take this shit anymore. But, please do take this. This is probably one of the most therapeutic benzo RCs out there. If you're using this for anxiety and reduction, it would really help, okay? And you wouldn't be as addicted as other substances just because off the fact that I guess it was patented, or I don't think it was patented, but it was kind of synthesized in the beginning and studied to be, more therapeutic. So, yeah, it's not that hypnotic as well. So that's really the reason why that people love it so much. So, yeah, I'm going to put this in A tier. It's a little more of a therapeutic benzo. It's probably the most therapeutic one I've tried. And that's really saying something. But, if you have no benzo tolerance, or if you're benzo naive, it's going to fuck your world up, man. It's going to fuck you up. And you got to be careful if you get the stuff in powder. Yeah, you got to either volumetrically dose it or trust your goddamn finger. I put a little specks of this shit and it still got me high. So no, you cannot eyeball this. I'm serious. And that goes for any benzo powder. You just cannot eyeball that stuff. It's really only meant to be volumetrically dosed. That's why you see that stuff pressed into pills. It has to be in some medium of, a chemical. Because, yeah, by itself, as you know, chemicals in their pure form are fucking potent as fuck. So, yeah, be in your best interest to volumetrically dose this one. And it would also help you if you're using it for therapeutic use. But yeah, so anyways, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys stay high, stay lifted. This was ranking my best and worst RCs 2024 edition. And yeah, so I'm going to make others as time goes on about the new RCs I've discovered and, started using and not been using. And, just my anecdotal evidence of these chemicals and, you know, my opinion. So most of all, it's just an opinion. So yeah, but leave it down in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with this list here. And yeah, I really love to see the comments of people that, you know, are interested in these videos and these chemicals right here, and what you feel of them. You know, leave down your experiences of these chemicals. You know, leave down your trip reports. All right, and also join the harm reduction Discord, KhaoticK Substance and Harm Reduction. We're getting a lot of members there. We got 120 members and growing. So get right on that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay high, stay lifted, like I said 3 times throughout the video. You know how it is, man. I really want you guys enjoying your life. And also, hey, if you find yourself enjoying your life without drugs, kudos to you, man. I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, and share the video to others that you think would be entertained. And yeah, last but not least, peace out.